call this meeting to order. Welcome to our first workshop meeting in our beautiful town of Poetry. We're so glad that you could make it tonight. We had one council member who is joining us on somewhat of a FaceTime, so he is with us. There are a few reasons that four reasons basically that we're having this meeting tonight. One is we're going to have our official town hall meeting next week. We didn't want to waste any time, so we have Tuesday night available, but here we are. Secondly, solid waste management is one of the main requirements by the state of Texas. The type A are required by local government code section 363.0635. We don't have to have a police department, we don't have to have a fire department, but we do have to take care of our trash. So the state of Texas says we have to make sure trash is properly disposed of. I have a few of these going around. You can read the specific language if you'd like. A later date will probably go into that further. So, thirdly, in evaluating this, we have over 12 different vendors crisscrossing our roads every week to pick up our trash. That is in trucks that may weigh 20,000, 60,000 pounds or more. They are detriment to the life of our roads. We have, in fact, it's more significant than I once thought. The stopping has started each day on our Chickensville roads. Crisscrossing is costing us more in repairs. We pay for those roads in our tax dollars, no matter how you slice it, whether it's Huntington County, Kaufman County, or it's Poetry Coffers, we pay for it. So a little ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So there's all kinds of science out there, all kinds of data. I encourage you to do your own research. The council members are doing theirs on the effects of heavy vehicles on roadways. So that is another reason that we are here. Number 4, town of Poetry. Because of all the traffic, the heavy weight on our roads, we can receive franchise fees type service fee that can go back into the care of our roads. So I'm excited about our guest speakers here today. Just as you would in your own home, please give them the attention and respect as our guests. We have nearly 8 speakers, so I ask that questions be for clarification only from our council members. We will, I suppose, at a later date be discussing things in detail, okay? What you don't like, what you do like about trash services, aka solid waste services, going forward, okay? So if you have questions, thank you for jotting them down to be answered at a later date. We want to be fair to all our guest vendors, many of whom have family businesses like yours. Okay, so this meeting is a workshop. There's no requirement there's no mandate for citizens to be able to speak. But with that said, we do want you to be heard, valued, informed, and feel connected to your town and your town council. So there will be time, but as we've given them up to 30 minutes each to speak, so it's probably going to be a long meeting. So thank you for jotting down your questions. We want to do what's best for our town, right? So with that, we'll have a roll call. Council members, please answer by saying present. Councilman Terry Fowler. Councilmember Tom Anderson. Can you hear me, Tom? He's on Facebook. He's here. Okay. Councilmember Mike Jackie.
Here, present.
Councilmember Brian Benson.
Present.
Councilmember Simeon White.
Present.
Okay, quorum is confirmed. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Fowler will lead us.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this time we'll remain standing, please. Is there someone who would like to say the invocation? I really love participation, and so is there someone who would like to do that?
The prayer?
The prayer.
Prayer.
Mhm. Okay. And what is your name?
Jason Reed.
Jason.
Dear Heavenly Lord Father, I thank you for this day, thank you for this chance to be up here, as young people. And we pray and raise your holy name up, Lord. All this is only possible with you and through your guidance, Lord. I just want to thank you. We love you, Jesus. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, so if we have the vendors here. So CRS is the first of the list, and that was drawn. We just drew the names randomly. Yes. I'm sorry, I could not hear you.
Why are we conducting a meeting in violation of open meetings?
We are not.
Under 52:4, council has to meet and establish official means of communication. So without that being done, there was no official notification of this meeting.
Yes, sir, there was.
No, there is not, until there is a resolution passed by council.
Sir, yes, there was. I vetted this with the attorney, and, okay, so you can sit down now, thank you. It has been posted as duly noted, 72 hours in advance, and it's also posted online.
We do not have an official way of notification. Council has not notified.
It does not need that.
And it is for
So how do you anticipate the first meeting to occur?
first meeting has to occur after the council meeting.
But you have to have your first meeting.
Which is the first meeting.
Okay, so I've asked you to sit down, I've heard you, and I vetted this with the attorney, and thank you for your opinion. Thank you. Okay, so this has been vetted with the attorney. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? You have to have a first meeting. It's been duly posted 72 hours in advance. It's also been posted online, it's also been posted on Nextdoor. Okay, thank you. All right, so CRS, you are the first up. The rest of you, thank you for going upstairs. Josh will escort you. You'll be duking out for the best room upstairs. Okay, so the way this is going to work, we have a timer here. The first bell will be signifying your 30 minutes is up. The second one will be for the next vendor so that Josh can call the next vendor. Okay? And there is a mic here for CRS. You're up. Your time will start when you get all connected.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and if the light isn't on, go and press it. It's on. Everybody, wherever you feel comfortable, and if you, I don't know if you have a slide, but, okay, just.
This good? Good evening, Poetry. My name is Kim Kilmer with CRS. We are a local trash company. We've been doing business in the county in poetry for around 8 years. We have around 175 customers in the area. We are a small business, family owned and operated. We have several customers in the area, as mentioned. We were asked to provide some proposals. Without further details of what the town and residents are wanting, we couldn't give pricing. We have given the town, the council members some options, including weekly trash service if roll-offs are needed, rear-loaded dumpsters, as well as weekly spring and fall cleanup services. We've also asked for other information, and until that is given, we can't provide details price-wise. Sorry, I don't know.
Just,
Sorry.
where are you at right now on your weekly service for a standard customer?
$24 a month plus tax for one container. here, 37 plus tax for 2 containers.
And do y'all have, roll-offs now or bigger dumpsters now?
We do not, but we can provide them. We
Yeah,
can
yeah,
contract
but
out.
do you know what they would cost now?
I don't know what
Okay,
those would be.
that's fine.
Sorry.
But you're willing to buy them, if that's what the city.
Yes, sir. The roll-offs will probably run out, contract out.
Okay.
But as for rear-loaded dumpsters, we are willing to purchase them. We've been in talks, we just haven't done it yet.
Are y'all still participating in recycling?
We are not. Recycling, we had too many people that could not follow rules, and it was also becoming very cost-effective for us, considering they were being rejected when we took them to the facility because they weren't clean.
Okay.
And as far as I know, there's not anybody in the county that is, and if they are saying they are, I would suggest weight tickets and proof that they are recycling. Any further questions?
Does it have roll-offs?
For,
How many roll-offs do you have?
we don't have any roll-offs
You
at
don't
this
have
time.
any.
No, ma'am. We can contract out with another company. She asked how many,
I'm sorry, the question was, how many roll-offs do you have? That's the big dumpsters, they don't have any, but they can contract, is that what you said?
I'm sorry?
How much?
I don't have a price on those.
What do y'all truck for typically?
We have two
We can't hear.
What do your trucks weigh?
Okay, thank you.
we have two single axle trucks that weigh 26 to 33,000 pounds, and we also have a side loader truck that weighs around 50,000 pounds. The 50,000 pound truck does not go down very many of our roads. It's normally used for more of our city routes, and our single axle trucks are what we run in the poultry area normally, about 90% of the time.
So what's the maximum amount of houses you could service in a day with your current vehicles?
Depending on how many trucks we're running, we can service probably 400
A week?
a day. One truck the side loader truck can hold roughly 400 to 500 customers, and the single axles carry about 2 to 230 customers.
Ma'am, we have CRS as our trash service, and I just wanted to say that we really appreciate y'all backing down our dead-end road. We have a cement drive, and that would be the only logical place for someone to turn around. So I just want to say that's very important to us, that we don't have trash trucks crushing our concrete at the end. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
I wish you the best.
Thank you very
Remember,
much.
please.
We do try to drive carefully down these county roads. We've noticed there's lots of potholes. We try and go around them. We try and dodge them as best we can. We don't usually speed down the roads because we watch for animals and kids and other people that might be riding their bikes or horses or whatnot. We've grown up in the area. My husband and I have lived in Roy City for about 13 years, and then we finally moved out of the city because they annexed us. But we are still based in the Roy City area. We've used Dr. Day for 20 years, so we know the area. We are poetry.
So Kimberly, when you said you could do 400 a day, which truck would that encompass?
That is the side loader truck, the heavier of our trucks.
The 50,000.
That's not one that we normally would carry in the poetry area, but we have 2 other trucks that are the single axle that we would run.
Okay, so currently you service 175 homes where you're using.
In poetry.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I use you, you're really good.
Thank you.
My question, I think, is from somebody else that posed this question that does their own animal carcass, whatever, their own, I don't know what they call that.
Yes, ma'am.
Their own farming and animal
Processing.
slaughter, processing.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think maybe it was you that refused to have them anymore, is that right?
That is false. That particular customer canceled service themselves.
Okay,
They were throwing animals away, including goats
Okay.
that were not chopped up, that were just dead.
right.
And at the time when they had us as customers, we were hand unloading these containers. We now have cart tippers, so we don't hand unload them anymore. But those animals would just swap out and hang out in the truck until they finally made their way into the trash truck. They decided to go with another company because they went to church with that company. So we did not cancel them.
Okay.
Thank you for asking so we can clarify.
Back, you're, whatever.
Yes.
If it's back, we'll pick it up.
Thank you, ma'am. We are, yes, sir.
Your, couple of questions, your frequency of pickup would be once a week?
Yes, sir, once a week.
And with your two smaller trucks, you said you could accommodate approximately
200 to 230 per truck.
per truck?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that going to put your company in a bind in terms of other customers that service this area?
No, sir. We have 2 other days of the week that are completely empty currently, and some of our other days we can still add to them.
And what other pricing you're able to come up with?
I'm sorry?
What other pricing you're able to come up with? Are you also able to offer in the extended territory or ETJ?
Are we able to offer the prices to them? Yes, sir. If they sign up for service, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know what you're saying.
We're already in forestry, like,
Oh.
certain customers are forestry, but they were picked up today. Certain customers are forestry, they're picked up Thursday, and some are picked up Friday, so it would just fatten up those 3 days. In reality, we would probably gain another day,
We're in poetry 3 days a week. We,
just different sections.
different areas, just.
I have a question for the panel, for the council. Is this to try to organize so we can get one trash service to service everyone?
That's yet to be determined.
But that's hopefully.
That's yet to be determined.
So what I want to say is all this is new to all of us. State statutes and all that, they're buried in big books. And I'm going to do more research. I haven't found anything that requires the city to mandate it. We have to make sure that solid waste is taken care of, which right now, pretty sure everybody in this room has a solid waste company. And it's being taken care of. Even in this huge metropolis that we have, I've drove every corner and I hadn't found a pile of trash that hasn't been picked up. So I'm not saying we are or not, but I promise you that we're going to look into it. And if it's not mandated that we require you to have a trash service, then we won't.
Well, that was one of the first things when I found out about becoming the vote and everything, was that if we had one trash service.
I agree.
That would, we see 15 going down the road every day. That's sort of, to me, a waste of time where if you can pick everyone up at one time, it would be far more cost efficient.
It has been put out there that maybe we limit to certain zones, been put out there that maybe we limit to maybe 2 services, because it is a lot of traffic. And so that's yet to be determined. This is just informational for everybody.
But that's hopefully where we're going, is to try to get some volume of traffic off the roads by incorporating.
Well, it would make sense that we try and get some of the traffic off the roads, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all furnish your cans?
Yes, sir, we do.
Just for those of you who saw the side conversation between Simeon and myself, we're just saying that since this is a workshop, not an official meeting, we can't actually discuss this. We can answer some brief factual information, but we can't actually discuss it.
What are we doing here when you've got a perfectly good system working around there?
Well, our roads are a mess, so it's not really working for our roads.
And my road is working.
And we have the mandate by the state, as I stated in the beginning, we have the mandate by the state to do something. And we have over 12 different vendors, 12 to plus on our roads. And so we're gonna go,
Does it mandate, say we've got to have one or two trash services, or does it say you've got to pick up your trash?
well, we have it written right here. So again, this is mainly a workshop to help us, we're gonna listen to the vendors, and a lot of this can be dealt with later. So that we're just information seeking right now. There is no judgment, there is no decision made tonight, it's information only, okay? So we have to start somewhere, right? So, but we are required, by the Type A municipality, we're required to deal with this. And so we have a mess on our hands with the roads, and it is very costly. So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So we need to do something, and that has yet to be determined what that is. Kimberly? Is that good? Have we answered all your questions about Kimberly and CRS?
And one of our options we have on there is to try and contract out with one or two other companies that are local, that are also small businesses that already service poetry. So we can try and keep the big boys out. Like, I'm not gonna mention names, but the corporate America accounts, we are open to that also. I mean, there's several options that we could look at, but.
Do you want to go ahead and address those options so people can?
Sure. Some of our options are just a one-time-a-week trash service. Option 2 would be with one-time-a-week trash service, and then we also have the dumpsters and rear loader and roll-off dumpsters. Option 3 is the one-time-a-week trash service, dumpsters, as well as a fall or spring cleanup where CRS provides roll-off dumpsters for the residents to be able to throw away their trash, their big bulky items. And then the option 4 is to team up with another company or two that already service poetry, that's already local, that we could all split and still keep poetry as best as we can. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What about water heaters and mattresses? I've heard they're kind of a pain.
Yes, sir. Water heaters can be recycled at local scrapyards. They usually pay for them if they're metal. Mattresses we do pick up. We do charge for them. The landfill charges, we pass on the charge. I think the one mattress is $50, and then we charge $25 per box for it. Yes, sir. Any other questions?
What kind of word is here about this thing? When we get down to one trash service, there's no competition.
Okay, our questions, that is a valid point. The questions are for clarification, and we'll hash this out later, but that is a valid, and that's been stated, before, but again, we're just asking clarification questions. Let's leave the questions about opinions and all of that for later, okay? Thank you.
Nobody else have any questions?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, so vendors, yeah, all vendors are supposed to be upstairs right now. Okay, so their time is up. Okay, the next vendor is Ameritech. Thank you, Josh, bringing Ameritech down.
Just out of curiosity, how many households would be serviced? How many households in Waterford?
Okay, that's a fact of, we believe that's 689 unique household residents. Now granted, there, maybe family members sharing, this and that. And then within that, maybe about 10 dumpsters, give or take a few, the churches and the businesses in town. Okay, so next up, we have Ameritech.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and there's a mic for you right there.
Got a handy dandy handout for you guys, if that's okay? Actually, I have two, so we'll go with this one first. Thank you. Appreciate it. Usually once you're here.
How do you spell your name?
American. AMERICS.
Hey, and Arthur, would you mind putting a couple of these out for the audience so they can see those as well? Pass those around.
Okay, time, start going.
Good evening. Mayor, Council, thank you for allowing me to come address you folks tonight. I appreciate your time. My name is Arnold Bernardino with Ameritech Services out of White House. On the backside of this, and I'm just gonna kind of roll through as far as who we are, what we've done. And actually, I've got another even more packet for you folks. Again, my name is Arnold Bernardino. I'm the Municipal Relations and Business Development Manager for Ameritech Services. Ameritech has actually, this is our 20th year in business. So we've been around a while. We service basically the Oklahoma border down to Hemphill and Pineland, Texarkana all the way over this way. We currently service about 55,000 residential homes across East Texas. We are quite possibly the largest independent carrier in the East Texas market. We pride ourselves in small to medium-sized cities, HOAs, POAs. As far as in the East Texas market, we actually have 6 different yards: Mount Vernon, Van, Jacksonville, White House, Lufkin, and then Pineland. We're actually I think I keep going off here. We're actually looking for another yard out this way just because we're growing pretty fast out this way as well. So we're looking to expand even further as far as another yard. In general, we try to stay from any one of our yards between an hour and a half to 2 hours, from the center of that location. So pretty much anywhere in East Texas. We've got quite a bit of rural. We currently service, I believe, 15 different municipalities across East Texas. They all range in size. One of which we recently won a contract with just south of us, a little town called Reclaw. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's Walker spelled backwards, and they actually brand it that way. But they were very similar to you. They are brand new, or not a brand new city, but the city had never offered trash service before, so we went in, educated them, they opened it up. We did our pitches just like this and kind of talked through as far as who we are, what we do. And the beauty of trash service to allow, for the city, and you mentioned as far as roads goes, it's an excellent way to generate revenue for the town. So the town of Poetry would definitely benefit from providing a service like this. I don't know what I'm doing with my mic keeps going on. All right, sorry. So anyways, we again been in business since 2001. We employ a little over 150 East Texans in our within our company. Again, we specialize in small to medium-sized cities. We can handle without any question large cities, but we like to keep it into 10,000 and below in that ballpark. There's no reason why we couldn't go further, but we want to make sure that the cities that we're servicing get the attention they deserve. We don't cookie cutter approach anything either. So we build specifically to the needs of the city. So basically, we'll sit down with mayor, the council, kind of figure out what you're looking for, and we build a contract from that. We don't come in and say, hey, this is what you're going to get for X amount of money. We'll build a contract based on your specs, basically. Ameritex, we offer polycart service, dumpster service, roll-off box service for large commercial construction issues, things like that. You don't have the sewage plant here, but we also do sludge. And we're also a portable toilet, shower, and hand wash station. So that's actually where we've got our roots. We've got an inventory of over 500 portable toilets. So that's actually where we started. Some of the things that we build into contracts, and again, it's up for negotiation as far as what we want to do. We offer bulk cleanup annually, semi-annually. Just really kind of depends what the city is looking for and what they want. We don't have a single contract that's the same with any one of our cities that we service. So the town of Poultry is, can dictate exactly what they want. But we offer either like a bulk cleanup, or we could do roadside, monthly roadside pickup. So, and generally the way that works is, not that you have a secretary yet, but you would call the city, the residents would call the city secretary, schedule that with the secretary. Once a month we come out for a nominal fee, pick it up, and then it's up to the, city as far as if they want to charge over that or not. But we literally don't make anything on the roadside bulk pickup. Again, we offer sludge, but obviously we don't have that. Other things that we do are for any city events or functions that the town of Poultry puts on. We'll provide portable toilets, polycarts for that event. All you have to do is let us know, as far as when that is, and we'll provide it for you. I try to make every single event for the cities that we service, so I'm out here minimum, once a month, just checking in to find out what's going on, how things are going. We also offer front door service for elderly, if that's something that you would be interested in looking at, because there are some people that can't roll their polycarts out to the end of the road, so we do offer that. We let the cities vet that out as far as, who they be, handicap or elderly that can't do that. Plus we do a lot of giving back as well. Just a few things that we do. We offer scholarships for every city that we go into. On a city this size, it'd probably be like a $500 scholarship, one male, one female. So we do that for graduating seniors. They have to have a 3.5 GPA, just those kind of things. 2 weeks ago, I gave away $5,000 for graduations, through the cities that we service. We do a lot of, now with COVID last year, we couldn't do a lot of our special events right now, but we have what's called a Salute to Service 5K. It's the 5K benefit run that benefits strictly just vets, that are disabled, whatnot. And any of the foundations that we use, what we ask for them is that the money stays in East Texas. It's not going to go into a fund and go out to another state. We want the money to stay in East Texas, so we only partner with foundations that keep the money within East Texas. And that's actually the Never Forgotten Foundation. That's who we partner with for the 5K. We actually have an awareness cam, which is kind of a cool thing. We actually have a pink cam that it's an upcharge of $4. We don't keep any of that. We take $2 and $2 and split it up between two different cancer foundations, one of which is a foundation that we use for anybody that has cancer or is in remission of cancer after they've gone through the program. The doctors all volunteer their time. Anything that, they'll build diet plans for you, exercise plans, workout plans. And then even if you go into remission or you're free of cancer, you still have the ability to see those doctors and be able to, get that service from them. So it's kind of a cool deal. And this year we're actually doing a first time ever, now that the COVID thing has gone away, we're doing a Texas Cactus and Cattle Showdown. Our owner is really, really big into FFA. About 3 weeks ago, we raised about $16,000 that are just going to go to scholarships for this FFA event. And it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a customer of ours. You don't have to use our service. It's open to kids in FFA. All you have to do is register with us. Our Facebook page is just about ready to get launched, but that's going to be November this year. All the money that we raise for it is going to go right back to the kids for scholarships, belt buckles, those kind of things. As far as this particular event, but because it's just a way to give back. Clayton's done a lot with his kids in FFA, and let's face it, if you're in FFA, you have to have a lot of money sometimes to do well. So he wanted to be able to give back to those kids that didn't have the $10,000 to buy the, to afford that effort. So he wanted to find a way to be able to put that money back in, or find money to give to those kids, because we're going to have all different kinds of awards. So it's going to be kind of a neat deal, but that's open to anybody. So that is us in a nutshell. I know that, and I've got another packet for you. I know we talked about possibly, 3 different tiers as far as that goes, and I've got a booklet for you. If you give me just 1 second, I'll grab those. Am I back in the right place? Okay. Sure, absolutely. Sorry about that.
He heard you.
So the first part of this pamphlet is just kind of going over who we are, what we do, basically the stuff that I just kind of ran down. It gives a little bit of history on Clayton, our owner, as well as his brother, who's the vice president of our company. He's one of the co-owners as well. Just kind of goes through the structure of our company, whatnot. Again, the book of business, 55,000 customers. We run about 55, 56 garbage trucks, 3 pump trucks, delivery trucks, 6 roll-offs. We have in our inventory about 25 commercial roll-off dumpsters. So there's, 130 roll-off dumpsters and 2,500 commercial dumpsters for businesses and whatnot. So those first few pages kind of run through who we are. If you go back to, I guess it's the 3rd page from the back, there's a bit detail. So that kind of goes over just to kind of give you an idea of how we chose to build it based on a 3-tier system. So I'm kind of walking you through there. But if you look in there, there's, based on percentage of participation within this, the Town of Poetry, the 50 to 75, 76 to 99, and then over 100, and the different rates as far as, where you would be. So that would, if depending how you chose to do it, these are just basically the 3 different options as far as, what you would get inside those options, if that makes sense. And I'm happy to answer any questions for you folks. So, obviously things we'll offer, with our service, you get a polycart included, and that's a 95 gallon, our polycarts are tan with brown lids, and everybody will get a brand new one. We don't recycle those as far as take one from one place, bring back to the other. All of ours are going to be brand new. We actually have a standing order with about 700 that come in every month for us. So we make sure that you have brand new polycarts when, if we were to service your folks. Same thing goes with our steel dumpsters. Anytime we enter a city, we make sure that we provide brand new steel dumpsters for you as well. So those, we would just get the count and what size and provide those, whatnot. So high school scholarships are on there, annual bulk cleanup, curbside large item pickup, the no charge portable toilets and polycarts for events. We obviously do all our own billing, so we would just need to find out who would be signing up the service, so we would do the billing for the city, for the Town of Poetry as well. On our website, we'll have a dedicated link that for the residents of the Town of Poetry to be able to, email us if they have questions or concerns. We have a dedicated person that mans each one of our accounts for that specific reason. Our response time is generally 24 to 48 hours as far as being able to get back to you. The commercial dumpster rates, these are just kind of rates as far as, where you would be at for 2, 3, 4 yard, 6 yard, and 8 yard containers, and then the roll-offs as well. But on the following page, it kind of just gives you a idea as far as where you would be. So just if it were 325 homes, or, I based it on 650 households, in the Town of Poetry, so I just kind of guessed on that. And it'll run you down, so it's a tiered, the more participation you get, the better it is for the Town of Poetry. You'll be able to do well for yourself. So it kind of breaks it down as far as, where you're at as far as the cost, what it would cost the Town of Poetry, the cost of the resident, because I think right now, isn't it about $25-ish or so for residential trash service out in this ballpark? I know it varies a little bit. Ish, yeah.
I've seen $19.95 all the way to $38
Yeah.
for residential.
Okay. Perfect. So this is just based on a $20 cost, and that cost can be, dictated by the ton of poetry, name that whatever you want. But this just gives you an idea of, what we're willing to do for the ton of poetry, and it breaks it up as far as what the percentage markup would be, your monthly and then annual revenues. So that's just kind of, give you a good idea as far as what we're willing to do, as far as our, yes, ma'am.
Can you, for those who don't have this in
Yes,
front of them, can you go through that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So basically the way I did it is, I guessed at 650 households inside the town of Poetry, and that could be plus or minus, and obviously those numbers will vary. So at a 50% participation, which would be 325 homes, the cost of poetry would be $1,550. And then obviously for the town of Poetry, there would be a markup to, and that's, you can call it a franchise, whatever you want to call it, but that's what the money would go back to the town of Poetry to be able to fix the roads, to provide for the town of Poetry, to be able to do things that, they need to have taken care of. For example, at 50% participation at 325 homes, if the cost of poetry was $1,550, and the cost of the resident was $20, I just marked it at 20 just to get a ballpark. The annual revenue would be $1,462.50, or the monthly revenue would be $1,462.50, and the annual revenue would be a little over $17,000, $17,550. So it's just, again, it's a lot of people don't realize that trash service is a good revenue stream for the towns that we go into. It's just how they pay for things to get things done and build their city halls and those kind of things.
So the clarification for that is, if I'm understanding correctly, that if we had 50% of participation, 325 homes on your service, it would cost our residents $20 per month.
Plus taxes, obviously.
Plus
taxes. Yeah.
Plus taxes.
Yes, ma'am.
And the town would get $4.50 per resident, so that would be a total annual revenue of $17,550
Yes,
for
ma'am.
the town, for
Right.
the town.
Right. And to give you an idea, just to, put some numbers in perspective, if it was 75% participation, and I would imagine the bulk of our rates are going to be as cheap or cheaper than what you're currently paying. But at 75% participation, that $1,550 goes to $1,450 to the city. So you get a little bit of a deal there. So at the same $20, the annual revenue at 75% participation will go from $17,550 to $32,208. That would go back to the city to fix roads and build things. And if it was 100%, participation, this is something that everybody wanted to do. Your rate to the city goes down to $1,350. The residents' rates don't change. That's again, well, I say that's up to you as far as what you guys choose to do. But at $1,350 and a cost of $20, the annual revenue goes from $17,560, $32,208 to $50,700. That goes back to the city.
So all these rate structures, you're considering that it's a $20 fee to the resident.
Yeah, and that's a rate, a fee that the town of Poetry would decide. I just put that in there for kind of example reasons. I kind of knew the average as far as where people were at in this market, and $20 a lot of times is at the very lowest. And a lot of times the people that started in 19 and change is no cart. It's just trash service picking up at the road. We're going to provide the cart for that. And and you take a step further. So if there's a situation where a resident needs an extra can, it's not $20 again. We're only going to charge the city or the town of Poetry $5, and then they might upcharge it, for the residents $6. And call it a $6 rate or $7, whatever you choose to do. I think the highest rate of any one of our cities for an upcharge is like $8 for a second can.
I see one of the line items is curbside large item, and that's $12, $11, or $10 depending on
Yes,
the
sir.
city.
Yes, sir.
Would that include, say, mattresses?
Generally speaking, it's 1 cubic yard, but that's a negotiation that we would do with the city. Once you decide if that's something that you want us to build in the contract, that's what we would do for you. Generally speaking, if it can fit into the back of a garbage truck, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. So generally speaking, if it fit back there, we'll take care of it. The things that we can't put back there, You know, we've had people try to throw away big stumps. Well, what happens when you compress, hydraulic compress a big stump? It pops a hole in the side of the trash chute, you know, and then we're just kind of stuck on the side of the road. So we can't take Freon, we can't take batteries, tires, hazardous materials, those kind of things. Those are the generals that you can't take. And if it is a fridge, you actually have to have a paper. It's a pencil basically that shows that your Freon was removed from that before we could even touch it, because it's illegal to dump anything in the yard, you know, in the landfill with Freon on it. So, but that's again, you know, something we could decide with the town of Poetry. This is what we want to do. And I said it's very much the ball's in your court. We're not going to dictate anything. If this is, you know, something you want to pursue with us, we would literally just sit down with you and say, hey, what do you want? Tell me what you want. We'll take care of it. We do all the heavy lifting because we handle all the billing for the town of Poetry. We can cut the town of Poetry a check once a month, once a quarter, whatever you desire. You know, we'll do from there. And basically, the way that works is, you know, if there's somebody that does not pay or if we did not get the payment for it, obviously you wouldn't get that. It's based off the people that do pay. And we take care of any kind of collections or if there's any issues, because Lord knows we send out through, you know, mail also. So a lot of times stuff gets lost. We've had a batch of billing get lost, so that was on us. But we'll build it any way that you want. You know, it's very seamless. You know, we call it just trash, you know, because it is just that. You know, we don't like to make it difficult. It's very simple to do. And literally, all the town has to do is decide what you want, and we take care of everything else. We'll handle everything else for you. And that's my deal. That's the reason why I work for this company. And to kind of give you some history, I spent 25 years in corporate world, worked for the largest, you know, consumer electronics retailer in the world and the largest TV broadcaster in the world. And there's something to be said about private business and how they treat their employees. Not saying that it's all bad that way, because I've met some great people in big business, but we truly and genuinely take care of our people, and we pride ourselves in being able to make sure that, you know, we do what's necessary for the township that we're working for. And we encourage you to call, you know, we'll give you a reference sheet, call all the cities that we service. They're not going to tell you that we're sunshine and daisies, but they're going to tell you that we're going to solve issues in 24, 48 hours, and they don't have issues with us. And again, that's my job.
So the last thing for me is, could we extend these prices to people who are in our ETJ? If we do, would it count against our count here to get those discounts?
Yes. So generally speaking, as long as it's in a part of the unincorporated area, yes, you would be able to do that. You can't, obviously, if they're in the city of Rockwall, you know, be able to do that. But if it's in your ETJ to where it's kind of no man's land, because that's where we got our start, you know, outside the city limits. But if they're inside that, you know, to give you an example, we currently service the city of Avery, and they just sent out 800 mailers to the surrounding area that is unincorporated. They've only done it it's only been out for 2 weeks. They've already got 35 more people inside of 2 weeks, which is unheard of. But we are cheaper than everybody else out there. And, you know, you always hear the thing, cheap isn't always good. In our case, it is, because it's not gonna hurt the service whatsoever at all. And for reference points, closest cities that we do to here is, we currently do Lone Oak and Point, and we're bidding on a couple other cities out this way as well, but feel free to call Lone Oak and Point about us as well. They're great people, but you know, we're just normal people. That's what it comes down to. We're just normal people. We like to take care of business. You know, we're very passionate about what we do, which is a really cool thing to be able to experience, you know, with this company. So I'm talking too much. What questions do you folks have? I'm sorry.
Can you tell us how big your trucks are? As far as concern is of use to the road,
Yep.
and weight of the vehicle.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about how big your trucks are and how many houses they can pick up?
Absolutely. So we use 20-yard trucks. They're single axle 20-yard trucks, fully loaded, 35,000 pounds in that ballpark. In a 35,000 in that ballpark. It'll vary depending if it's wet. There's more paper versus, you know, fill in the blank. You know, 35 to 45. That's a good swing. That being said, say there's 650 residents inside the township of Poetry. Probably a day, maybe a day and a half, but generally we could do about 600 homes a day, you know, per truck. And that's, I've been coming back, you can't pack it all into one of those trucks, so we're coming back, but generally 600 homes is what we'll run, for a driver in a day, and get that knocked out, so. For a town this size, if you picked up some of your TJ, it might take 2 days, but the difference is, it's kind of like what you said, if you had 12 trucks running through here, we're only running through here basically once on one side, even if it's 2 days, it's once on one side of the town of Poetry, once on the other side of the town of Poetry, so it's not, unless there's a main road that we're traveling in and out of, but it's nicer to, have the small trucks, and we have a lot of cities that require us to only use small trucks, so we make sure that we do that as well. What other questions?
What's the weight on your trucks for the roll-off dumpsters? Let's not even go roll-off, commercial 81 dumpster. What's the weight on?
Well, here's the beauty of what we do. We use the same rear load garbage trucks for commercial and residential. So we don't use the front loads, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's just more weight on that, obviously. But the beauty of doing that is there's not 2 sets of trucks coming into town. Because we use the rear load for commercial and residential, then as we're running the route, we build that into our route, so our rear load can pick up the commercial and the residential while it's running out there. We don't have to send a special truck out there.
Okay.
And Tim,
What about 30-yard?
30-yard, we have roll-off trucks, so
What's that gonna weigh total?
it depends what's being hauled. We give you a 4-ton limit on a 30-yard. Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's standard with virtually anybody. Anything outside of that, it's almost too hard to pick up.
We've got 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question about recycling services. Do you offer that?
Yes, we do. So we build that with the city. The cities that we currently do that have recycling service, we have Central Point location, so we'll have a recycling dumpster at a city hall or something like that, something that's fenced in. And then it's set up through either the township or the HOA POA. If they want to do recycled product, they have to show a bill, that they're, are currently a customer of the town of Poetry. And then they go back there and, take care of the recycling. Recycling is getting really expensive. I'm sure you'll probably hear that from all the other rest of the providers. It's about 3.5 times the rate per ton as normal trash, because the end users are kind of going away, unfortunately. But yes, we do offer that, and we can build that in pretty easily.
So you're saying that rate would be a lot more?
Yes, for example, a ton of garbage at the landfill, we use Campbell up here, $30 a ton. A ton of recycle, and there's a caveat to recycle, which I'll get to, is between $90 and $100 a ton. The thing with recycling, and hopefully you hear this with the other carriers, is a lot of contracts, I review contracts all day long, that's all I do. So a lot of the contracts that I see with other carriers, if there's more than 12% contamination, it all goes to the landfill. And by contamination, if you don't wash out a can, the recyclers won't take it because it contaminates the rest of their steel or whatever, or plastic that they're recycling. So for you to be able to do a recycling program, you would have to literally wash everything out to be able to bring it over there. So if we really wanted to make this happen, we'd almost have to have somebody inspecting everything that's getting thrown in there, because if we drive it out to the landfill and they see that it's, contaminated, they're gonna turn it right back around. So that's the bad part. We'll do it, we have no issues doing it, but that's the kind of caveat to recycling.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me? No, our rate contains everything. So, we build in as far as CPI increases, but I'll be totally honest with you, we haven't taken a CPI increase in 6 years. Just because we're not going to raise it just to raise it. If there's a reason for us to, we will. But we haven't. We know that there's a lot of cities out there. That's one of the reasons why they're getting turned away, is because they're getting rate increase after rate increase after rate increase. If we have to, because diesel is now $8 a gallon, well, yeah, it's improbable for anybody to do that. So, yes.
There's only 26 letters in the shop on that, so I'm making sure that CPI in your terms is consumer price index.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's based on obviously the trash CPI stuff. But like I said, we don't take it. We take it to the board and say, hey, this is what we are looking to do. We don't take it just for granted. You're the only one that can approve our increase. So we don't do it just because. We'll go to the board and mayor and say, hey, this is the reason why. We're going to give you good, valid business reason why. If you say no, then it's a no.
What kind of money do you get for roll-off?
It varies. You know, I'll tell you the average for like a 30-yard, depending how much weight is loaded in there, $450 to $700. Just really kind of varies, you know, as far as that goes. So it's kind of hard saying until you actually get to the scales and get a weighing done.
So I'm seeing here a cost per haul at $400 and delivery of, okay, sorry, time. Oh, 1 minute, okay. So the cost per haul, $400 for a 30-yard dumpster and the delivery fee of $175. Will you explain that a little bit?
Yes. So the cost per haul is just literally getting it from point A to point B. Or I'm sorry, the delivery fee is getting it from our yard to here. It's a one-time trip charge, you know, to get that. Cost per haul is getting it to the landfill. And then from there, it's just weighed as far as per ton. So on average, if you just want to add those up, you know, you're looking at 175, so 575, and say it's 4 tons, you're looking at another $160. So 5 and change, $550, $600 somewhere there on average. And that's pretty standard rates.
Okay, so for 2 yard, you have there at one time per week is $50.
Yes, 2 yard, those are dumpsters. The difference between a roll-off and a dumpster is a dumpster is placed at a business location, those one with the little flip-top lids. A roll-off is an open top.
All right, that's your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate you guys.
That's America. Okay, the next on the list is Titan. Dorothy, you have the envelope. Okay, so Titan, unfortunately, they had 2 deaths in the family. This is a sealed envelope that she delivered today, or someone from them delivered today, and so I haven't seen it. They have a folder. Okay, and we'll pass this extra one around. So, share. Start here and share. Okay, Simeon, would you mind, Councilmember Simeon, would you mind, go ahead and just kind of explain what you're seeing for those who don't have this, would you mind?
So I'm just reading through their rates right here. They have the commercial containers that they pick up 1 time a week for 2 cubic yards. It looks like they're at $75 per month plus tax and $25 per pickup. Continues on with 4 being at $125, 6 at $150, and 37.5 and 8 at $250 with that pickup. For the industrial rates, you know what, more interesting, the general rate schedule up here for residential is $25 per month for 1 mobile cart, and then for an additional cart is $10 per month. We've also got some information on their equipment. It looks like most of their trucks are from 2007 onward. Most of them are single axle. And their weight is averaging about 33,000, although some get up to 62. We've got some as new as 2019, some as old as 2007. Oh yeah. Yeah, even as early as 2021, some of them. So I guess they're continuing to expand. They have several trucks. And do you want to carry on with the next part?
They've included their certificate of liability insurance for us, showing $1 million liability insurance. Blanket survey bond for the operation of vehicles used exclusively for the transportation of solid waste. So they're licensed and bonded. And then we have an overview basically of they work with Talty and Forney, looks like, as, no, this actually looks like a resume. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we have a resume for the owners. And so that's pretty much the package. And if you guys have questions, and we can find it in the package, we'll try to answer them for you.
I did want to state one thing. In some of the research, they did mention single axle and dual axle, and before my research, I didn't realize the importance of that. So if you have a heavy truck, if you have, the more axles you have, the more the weight's spread out, right? So that's better on your roads. So if you have a really long, really round truck, it might be better on the roads, especially if it's lighter. So that's why I think they've included that single axle versus dual axle is important for the life of the road.
The only issue that I see there is that the dual axles are from 2003 and 2007, and it's on a 5-year replacement schedule. So those are a little over time, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily relevant to the discussion.
Those are also roll-off trucks. Those are not residential service trucks.
Okay, Terry pointed out that those are roll-off trucks, not residential service trucks.
Okay, so any questions for Titan? Okay. All right, so that's it for Titan. There is a packet going around, you can look at that. So the next presenter would be AWT Sanitation. Thank you, Josh, for Sorry, yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. So the best thing would be to have a dual axle that's really light. Or just a super light. Yeah, well, I've read in some municipalities, they have a limit of 20,000 pounds, and, yeah, anyway.
Yes.
Does that work? Yeah. All right. Good evening. We're AWT Sanitations. We're a family-owned business. We were established in 2015, and we've grown pretty decently this far. Our main purpose and goal, our starting plan was based off of the Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 10:31. Whether they're for you to drink or whatsoever you do all to the glory of God. And that's what we believe. That's what we plan for anything we do, whether it's picking up trash, whether it's being out here at a city council meeting. Represent yourself well, but represent God to the best of your ability. And granted, we're just like everyone else, we're humans. We fail, but we do our best to represent God. And that's the start out of who we are. And is a family-owned business, and we're based on biblical values, and we're a Christian company. That's the start of who we are. We do have a huge variety of trucks. We start out with our under CDL trucks. We've had trucks that weigh 20,000 pounds and under. In order to do that, you have to have an 8-yard truck or less. And it's normally on the frame of a normal pickup-looking truck. The other options that we do have, we also have roll-off trucks. We have medium-sized trucks. We have a 20-yard truck, which is on a tandem axle. It depends on where you go. To answer your question a little bit more about if it's a single-axle truck, yes, you have smaller bodies normally on a single-axle truck. However, you have all that weight, because no matter what you do, a trash truck is built to be overweight on the back axle. every trash truck that you find. If the DOT pulled them over all day long, I promise you they could pull them over and ticket every one of them headed to the landfill for the back axle. Nothing else. Front axle's fine, but the rear axle will always be over on a trash truck because the tailgate is built too heavy for them. However, we did build our 20-yard truck with tandems on the back, so it's designed to handle 35,000 pounds instead of the normal 20, which is allowed on the rear axle. So that's what we did, trying to compensate for it, because our goal is to spray it out the best that we can. Because we're road conscious too. Remember, our trucks are running down the roads, and replacing a spring on one of our trucks is a lot more than replacing it on one of our cars. So we are conscious of the roads and trying the best that we can to take care of them, because it makes a difference on us. A spring costs about $2,000 to replace, and that's just one. So we are conscious of that, but we offer a wide variety, like I said, of options. I'm not going to take much time, but that's kind of who we are. I do have a few questions for the council though, because there's a few things. I didn't come prepared to actually make a solid bid on anything. I believe there's some unanswered questions that need to be fulfilled before we can actually make a bid that is in-depth and comprehended. So the first is your municipality was mentioned as a tax-exempt municipality whenever you pay someone for something. Correct. That's what a municipality normally is. You don't pay sales tax on money that is paid to you from the municipality. That's normally how a city, whenever it's paid to the trash hauler, to the vendor, they don't pay sales tax on it. That's where it makes it so much easier to put a good 15% of what you bring in towards the city as a franchise fee. And so that's what that allows you to do. Well, because the vendor will be having to collect, I take it we're doing the clerical work, the vendor is doing the clerical work. So if you don't have an actual billing set up for it, the vendor, each of the trash haulers will have to provide the clerical and billing for the city, and therefore we will have to collect state sales tax on it on top of everything, which is different. So that's a question I would have to have kind of clarified as to whether it's actually tax exempt or if it's not. The second is there isn't any real enforcement to make people swap companies. There's nothing that says that's going to make it where every person has to change company. In my experience, if you come into a place, no matter how much they promise you that everyone's going to change, there's always a small percentage of people that they say, you know what, we're very content where we are. A lot of you probably have different trash services that are here today, and they've probably done you a good job. That's why you're still there. And sometimes whenever you change, you really don't like the change that you get. I live in the city of Greenville. I can't service my own trash, and you know what? The guys that service it don't do a very good job. They leave trash in the bottom of it. They leave it down the street. So I can't do anything about it. Only the city can. So that's another problem, is you don't have anything to enforce and make sure that everyone swaps over. So you can't make an effective bid if you don't know how many people you're going to be servicing. The next is the standard contracts generally come with a city allowance. The city has certain buildings that they want service for free. They have a certain amount of roll-offs that they want every year. And none of this has been provided at this point for this city. So it's hard to make a bid if you don't know what the city's going to be wanting done specifically for them. And then
Clarification,
Yes,
you were provided, each of you were provided with the number of 689 unique residences and 10 potential roll-offs. That was given to every vendor.
Okay. Now, that 689, is that guaranteed or is that just hopeful?
That nothing's guaranteed.
That's it, exactly.
Nothing.
I rest my case. Okay, the last thing is, and this is something that I'm really just interested in, because I read your law, the little law where you have to have some sort of solid waste management plan, and but there's also a law in subchapter C to section 43.0661. Okay, it's in subchapter C2 of general annex authority and procedures, and then it's in section 43.0661. And what it says, a municipality is not required to provide solid waste collection service to a person who continues to use the service of a private-owned solid waste management services provided as provider as provided by subsection C. This is speaking of the first 2 years after an annexation of area. It says before the second anniversary of the effective date of annexation of the area, which I believe was in November. It says,
Clarification.
Yes, sir.
Incorporation is totally different from annexation.
Annexation, okay.
Yeah, they're very different.
So you haven't annexed any property?
We have not.
Okay, all right, just wondering, because it says that it would be prohibited from, basically excluding vendors from servicing.
Yes, annexation rules are completely different from incorporation rules.
Okay, all right, good, that clarifies that, because I was concerned about that, because if the law states that you can't change it, then it makes it very difficult. However, I do know that people that are in technically Royce city limits, they don't have to, there's no way to actually force them into any service that's there. And I do have, I have some people that are actually serviced in Royce city limits because there's no way to force them into it. So like you said, there's no guarantee on how many people there is. And so that being said, I can't make a good bid on any kind of contract. But that's where we are, that's who we are. And we're in the area, and we hope that maybe one day we can service you whenever there's something that is a solid thing to bid upon. Any questions? My current rate is $26 a month. That comes with a 96-gallon poly cart, and you get 2 extra bags outside the cart allowed with it. And you can put it inside your own can or another one. Any other questions?
What's the way, so you got less than CDL trucks, so less than 26,000. You have a 10 and 20-yard truck?
Yes, sir.
What's its weight for?
Its weight full is 53.
53. How many houses could you?
How many houses could you do in a day?
How many houses can you service in a day with how many trucks?
With whatever you could.
With my current staff of trucks, I could add 1,000 houses to my routes. Yeah, if I had to. Currently what we do for holidays is we double up the next day, so I pick up 1,000 more houses on one day than we actually have to. So I can do twice as much as we currently do in one day if I had to.
How many smaller trucks do you have?
I have 2 trucks that weigh in at, their gross vehicle weight is 19.5, and then I have 1 truck that its vehicle weight is 25.5, and another one that's 25.9.
So you have 4 trucks below CDL. How many houses could those 4 trucks service?
Those 4 trucks, in this spot, because you're so far from the landfill, it's a 37-minute trip one way to the landfill. You're looking at 2 landfill trips. Each of the small ones can do 180 houses each round. So you're looking at, that would be 360 houses just in the Dodges for 1 trip to landfill times 2, that would be 720 for that truck. And then the other 2 trucks are capable of holding 200 houses each.
So you can service the city with
easily
less than
those.
CDL trucks?
Yes, sir, if we need to.
Thank you.
Okay, so did you have any of this written? So we're trying to jot all this down. Did you
So
have
what do you mean written down?
any handout or anything?
Oh, I've got a
Okay.
business card. And then I brought a PowerPoint, but I found out that it's not gonna actually be able to be effective with that already used. But I do have business cards.
Okay, so we had asked all the members to, give us 3 options with say maybe 50% of the service, 75 or 100. And so, if $26 per resident, if we had maybe half or say that again, 50%, 75%, 100%, would there be any better rates for our citizens?
If we, I'm not gonna say, because I don't wanna get into a battle over people not paying their bill. I know trash, and I know that sometimes whenever bills get forgotten, if the trash gets forgotten. And
We
would look
understand
back.
that if you don't get paid,
I
then.
can't come in here without the city
Mhm.
being the person responsible for the trash being picked up. Because it would be me being responsible whenever I miss the trash because I haven't paid. That's on me. And so whenever the trash is left out there, it looks very bad. It looks bad on us because the can stays there full, the trash next to it is full, and I don't want to be that person because I'm the one having to do the billing. Now, if it's already pre-billed and paid for, then there'd never be a problem. That's the challenge right there. But that's why I didn't bring anything.
So are you saying your preference is that the city pay you a fixed amount, and then it's on the city to deal with?
With the billing, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the way that works out the best with cities, because you end up with everyone mad. The city's mad because the customer's mad, but they didn't pay their bill, and then you have to call us to find out if they paid their bill. Whereas if y'all already know, they call you and say, hey, why did you not pick up trash? And you say, well, you haven't paid. So it keeps the headache to just one area.
Do you bring any references?
Any references? CRS knows me, Ameritex knows me. I don't know what kind of references we need.
Like a printed sheet of towns, cities that you work with?
No, I didn't do anything like that.
Where's the closest town you currently service to us?
I don't service a full town. I've been on one, but I don't service a town at this time. I service county areas. I service the area of Poetry. I service all the way up to Wolf City, over to Farmersville, and over to Alona. And we've got rear load dumpsters, we have roll-offs, we have residential containers. We have demolition machines, everything like that.
Do you have any recycling services?
We would like to have recycling services, but the problem is the closest recycling plant is in Harry Boulevard. And you can't make money trying to send a truck all the way up there with just recycled material. That's the challenge. Garland landfill just closed down their outsourced recycling center. So we're no longer allowed to bring recycling there. We have to take it up to Harry. Anything else? All right.
Okay, thank you
We
so much.
appreciate y'all for your time.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. Best wishes on that baby. Okay, next on the list is Blackjack Disposal. Blackjack Disposal. At this time, why don't we take a 5-minute recess for break? Okay, we're back in session. Please come to your seats. Please do not leave with the extra material, because Councilmember Anderson would really like a chance to have those. So, thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, this is Blackjack Disposal. Blackjack Disposal.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tim Alder, and I am a partner in Blackjack Disposal. We're probably relatively new to your area, but we're not new to these neck of the woods. I actually live on 1565, but on the Caddo Mill side, so come through here quite a bit. I've got a little slideshow here, then I've got some handouts. If I don't have enough for everybody else, unfortunately I didn't make enough, but happy to spread a few around. Let's see here. Not sure if you guys can see this or not.
Turn off the lights.
F5.
It's a PDF.
Hey Josh, can you control the keystoning? Can you control the keystoning?
Yeah, it's just a PDF, so I didn't actually carve one. It's just a PDF. It's the exact same PDF as the handout here. So a little bit about Blackjack Disposal. We feel like we're really uniquely qualified to provide the kind of poetry and services, and there's a couple of different reasons why. We were founded in 2018. We actually have two different companies under our umbrella, Blackjack Disposal and HHW Solutions. And Blackjack Disposal is pretty self-explanatory. We're a garbage business. We started with roll-off dumpsters, specifically kind of in your area. We also have a contract with Kaufman County where we operate their countywide cleanups and also their convenience centers. There's one located right here on 429. We operate that for a trash drop-off and recycling opportunity. But HHW Solutions is a little bit different. That wing of our company offers household pickup of those hard to get rid of chemicals. So your paints, your batteries, your pesticides, typically those things that either sit underneath your kitchen counter for a while or are on a shelf in your garage that are there for years and years. I hear a lot that these paint cans have been here since I bought the house. How do I get rid of them? So that's a little bit of a unique thing about our company as opposed to our competitors. So we do have an opportunity to provide your residents those services as well as solid waste. We were asked to provide 3 submittals. I'm not going to take up the full 30 minutes. I can tell you that unless you ask a lot of questions, but I'm just going to dive right in. Submittal number 1 is where we would ask to be the exclusive provider of weekly trash collection in Poetry, and would include a 95-gallon cart, probably what most of you already have. We would in turn remit a 10% franchise fee to the town. And then in addition to that, we would offer a startup contribution of $10,000 to the town as well. And we have a little asterisk here that would be payable to the town of Poetry upon successful sign up of at least 600 homes. We know that there in new startups for franchise cities, there can be some difficulty in that. So with the town's help, if we reach 600 homes, we would offer that $10,000 startup payment. In addition to that, this is where the household hazardous waste comes in. One time a year, you could call into our customer service center or go online to our website and sign up for a HHW pickup. So you've got paint, batteries, electronics. We would even include some level of tires, not a lot, but some level of tires, tire collection. Once a year, you could schedule that pickup. We'd come to your door and would pick up those items. The price for this service is $17.95 a month, additional cart $10 a month, and it's using our existing standard equipment. I realize that truck size is important here in town, but it's using our existing equipment that we're currently using right now, and there's a photo of that equipment as well.
What's the gross weight on that truck? Two axle?
Gross weight's going to be 54,900. Submittal 2 is a little bit different approach. It is also an exclusive franchise for weekly trash collection with the 95-gallon cart as the previous. It also has the 10% franchise fee payable to the town of Poetry, and it's got a $5,000 startup contribution. Again, same successful sign up of at least 600 homes to reach that contribution. One cart, $19.95. Each additional cart, $10 a month. But we would commit to using a truck, 13 cubic yards or smaller. There's an example of what that truck looks like. You're going to ask me what the GVW is. It's going to be under 26,000 pounds. It's a non-CDL truck. So depending, a 13 cubic yard truck would probably be 25.9, and the smaller we go from there. And again, it's a single axle truck as opposed to the tandem axle. $19.95, each additional cart, $10 a month.
Now, if we ask you to only use the smaller truck, how long would it take you to pick up 600 homes? Is that an all day or 2 days?
We would split it into two collection days. And submittal 3 is a non-exclusive proposal to where we're just one of your selected haulers, whether it's continues as open market or one of 3, 1 of 5, whatever you choose. It's a non-exclusive option. It does include 95-gallon rolling cart. We've got a 5% franchise fee payable to the town. One cart, $20.95, and each additional cart, $10 a month. And again, it's the existing equipment. That would be the 54,000 pound truck. So, in addition to that, I mentioned that we do operate the Kaufman County drop-off facility. for trash and recycling. Trash is a charge. We would promote that to the town as use, but we would heavily promote the use of the recycling drop-off, which is free of charge, at the 429 and 80 facility, where your residents could Thursday through Saturday, 8 to 4, come in and drop off their recyclables. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Who does with your proposals?
With all of the proposals, it's internal. And that's why you see the startup contribution. If you'll help us get to the 600 home building point is when that contribution kicks in. But we would do it internally. We recognize that we believe most likely you don't have a billing mechanism. You don't operate the water yet. Probably headed in that direction one of these years, but not quite yet. So we would build it internally.
Think of where to start. You've outlined two exclusive and non-exclusive. Are those exclusive to us, the town signing the contract, or does that mean everybody in the town has to sign on?
So the contract would be with the town directly, where you create an ordinance language representing that we have the exclusive franchise to all of the single-family households for that collection.
Okay. Would your pricing be available to the ETJ or extended territory?
So, great question. My gut instinct is to say yes, because we recognize that value. We didn't take any of that into account in the pricing. We take a number of homes when we calculate rates and such. We're already operating in the ETJ. On the non-exclusive proposal, it's our base rate, so that pricing would be available to them if they called our office today. Only on the exclusive agreements is where it would be recognized a greater deal, a lower rate than our primary pricing. But to quickly answer your question, I don't see why not. We're already here. It's not any more driving. I feel comfortable saying yes, we could do that.
Which cities do y'all have exclusivity with right now?
So we've got about 15 contracts under our complete umbrella, with our largest two being Rockwall and Waxahachie. However, that's not for solid waste service, that's on our HHW business. This would be
solid waste.
Just solid waste. This would be our first. We do have one beginning in February with the city of Crandall.
So Crandall has an ordinance that requires every city member to have y'all's trash service pick their trash.
Every single family resident, yes.
They have that city ordinance.
Oh, absolutely. I understand. I've been in the garbage business for about 20 years now with the big companies, and so one of my favorite stories is McLennan Chisholm, who went through the exact same thing as you guys are doing when they franchised, they incorporated, they franchised, and the difficulty explaining the benefits of incorporating the entire town and having everyone use the same vendor. I'm very familiar with what you're going through.
But you would agree Crandall doesn't look anything like poultry?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Not meaning anything that towards you. I'm talking about these exclusivity contracts.
Sure.
Yeah, that's nothing against your company.
No, the same thing applies to
Yeah, Crandall
the
just
rest of
doesn't
the
look like
competitors. Sure. I will tell you that back then, McLennan Chisholm that went through this as well looked a lot like poetry does today. Even from the large landmass, it can be a challenge. I understand what you're going through. It can be done. And in the end, the benefits, it's your decision on whether the benefits outweigh the rest of the concerns. But yeah, it can be done. But I definitely understand what you're going through there.
I guess one more follow-up. Do you have to service any cities with inexclusive, non-exclusive, where you might be one of 4 vendors that's allowed to work in the city?
So, if any of my competitors talked about the other bid that is going on tonight in Talty. There's a very similar meeting tonight happening in Talty where they have currently 2 vendors where they're by exclusive. I'm not sure exactly what the contract language. They allow for 2, it's an exclusive contract where they allow 2 vendors, and we've approached them and they're entertaining allowing a 3rd vendor or possibly an exclusive contract. So that's happening. My business partner is in Talty. I'm here. It's a solid waste kind of night. But yeah, those exist. Yeah. And to your point, Talty looks a lot like poetry does. So.
And so you'd be willing to enter into an agreement like that to work with other vendors, potentially?
Sure, as long as they meet the terms of, that would be the non-exclusive option of 3, the scenario 3.
So clarification, please. On the one cart, you say $17.95 a month. The 10% is already taken out or taken, when is it taken?
It is taken from the billing. So we bill $17.95, it's 10% of the $17.95.
Okay.
Very good
Roughly
question. You've got the solid
$1.80
waste question.
$1.80 goes to the
Correct.
town then. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you service Portrait now?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any recycling programs?
So the only recycling program that I have is what I mentioned just a little while ago, that we would open up our drop-off facility in Terrell to Poetry residents for recycling drop-off. It's open Thursday through Saturday, 8 to 4.
And what products do you allow there?
It is no glass, tin, aluminum, cardboard, paper, what am I missing? Plastics 1 through 7, except for styrofoam. Your standard, what's called single stream recycling, with the exclusion of glass, which is a hard to recycle product at this moment in time.
How would you determine who's using that facility? Is it coming from a poetry resident?
Everyone checks in at the facility. It's a manned facility on those days during those hours. So we ask for some level of identification of where you're coming from.
You've got Core City addresses and coffee addresses and
Sure.
addresses.
Sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's some level of, you've got some maps that show the town limits or what. I know the difficulty in establishing those areas, but we would work as hard as we could to identify exactly where you're at. Pardon? That's it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I think we have.
Do you provide roll-off dumpsters in, let's say like a 2-3 yard commercial dumpsters? We do. We heavily in the business of.
Sorry.
So our company started as a roll-off company. I've got a picture of one of them on there where we offer roll-off dumpster sizes. We do offer in our rural routes the small 2, 3, 4 yard, what we'll call commercial dumpsters.
Right now, no contracts given. If I call you as a customer, what's a 2 or 3 yard single once a week pickup?
$75 a month.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, so next we have, of time. Next we have Reed Sanitation. Thank you, Josh. I might send a clarification. Tri-County responded that they did not want to be in this area, so we some of you may have a later, an earlier rendition of the schedule, so I had to delete Tri-County and put Reed.
All right, my name is Jason Reed. I'm the owner and operator of Reed Sanitation. I have some flyers with you. Go off one.
Please.
I've been operating in here with my father since I was a child. Back in the truck and trailer days, my dad used to change my diapers on these routes. But now we modernize and use garbage trucks, up-to-date technology. You have to forgive me, it's my first time doing something like this. Got the best deer count out here. 72 in one day. 17 in one spot. Over down by the bottom of the floods. Y'all get one?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, we'll go over this here proposal, proposal 1. Trash cans will be provided to all customers. The first trash can that will be provided will be $17.50 per month, $5 for additional trash cans. Need all trash in the trash cans. Except on federal holidays, we have 4 house bags per trash can outside. So if you got 2 trash cans, you can have 8 house bags out. If there's trash outside the cans, there'll be a minimum bulk load charge of $5 and up depending on the amount of trash. All sales tax included. Billing will be sent out every 3 months. We got prohibited items, paint, tires, batteries, hazardous waste, liquids, heavy construction debris, such as you can't put concrete and fill it up in a trash can or something like that. That won't go. And any other item or debris on the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality list. And on our dumpster prices, we got 2 yards for $75, 4 yards for $125, and 6 yarders for $175 a month. All right, and we're a veteran-owned and operated company. Since my daddy passed and I took over, he passed away 2 years ago. When I got out of the Army, that's when I took over and started implementing modern technology. Tripled the number of customers since October 28, 2015, when I ETS'd out of the Army. Honorably. 2 combat tours. I was 32. All right, proposal 2. It'd be $18 a month, 10 house bag limit per week, not to exceed 200 gallons. If you got your trash, the box that comes in, it says the gallons of the bag there. And if you go over 200 gallons, it'd be another $5 minimum fee and up depending on the amount of trash. Because we gotta take care of the trash needs, but we also gotta take care of getting extra pay, compensate. Because I don't wanna leave trash. I don't like leaving trash. All sales tax included. Billing will be sent out every 3 months. The same prohibited items list there: paint, hazardous waste, tires, heavy construction debris. And the dumpsters are the same price: 2 yards, $75; the 4 yard, $125; and the 6 yard, $175.
So the difference in 1 and 2 is you don't provide cans on 2, and you allow more trash on 2.
Yes, sir.
For the lack of providing cans.
Yes, sir. And you can provide your own can. You just gotta stay within that 200 gallon limit.
Be careful doing that, because my wife can put 50 cubic feet in a 35 cubic feet bag.
I've seen people stomping in them. All right. We'll go to number 3 here. Number 3 is least on the list. It's $14 a month. It's 5 house bag limit per week, not to exceed 100 gallons. Except on federal holidays, 4 house bags extra per federal holiday. And the same thing, $5 minimum for bulk trash pickup. All sales taxes included, billing is sent out every 3 months. The prohibited items, the tires, paint, batteries, etc. And the dumpsters are the same price. Y'all wanna hear them again? This route's been a big part of my life, big part of my raising, my childhood. I was born and bred in a trash hauler, and only took a break to go serve our country, and I went straight back to work. And that's pretty much all I got. And if anybody got any questions of me?
Tell us, Jason, one of the concerns is the size and weight of the trucks. What are you putting all this stuff in?
Under CDL garbage trucks, gross vehicle weight 26,000 pounds.
How long would it take you to service 600 houses?
600 houses with 2 trucks, be approximately 8 hours.
So one day?
Yes, sir. Depending on flats, things like that, you know.
Option 2 and 3 excluded cans. If we chose to go this route, and a resident wanted a can, what's the cost? Would you provide it?
I would, an additional fee would be $100 a can.
Outright purchase?
Sir?
That's an outright purchase of $100 a can?
Yeah.
And what size cans?
96 gallon polycart.
And would this also be available for our citizens in the ETJ?
Let's see, think about that one. Yes.
Recycling?
No recycling.
Mattresses, box springs?
Mattresses, we'll pick them up, $75 fee. They charge $50 at the dump ground in Malloy landfill. You can call them and ask them. I charge a $25 handling fee. I think it's ridiculous. I agree.
Much better than the ditch.
So do you go to Malloy or do you go to Campbell?
Well, Malloy's right there in Campbell.
Oh,
Garland, then Garland back that way.
well, the other one that's on 45, 635, was that's Malloy?
Well, Malloy landfill in Campbell, Texas. That's one I use every day.
You go to one at Campbell?
Yes, sir. 5 days a week. Even had my wife, she says, "You ready to drive garbage truck?" I said, "Buckle up."
You have 2 trucks now?
Yes, sir. 2, and pre-approved financing for another brand new one. Went ahead and crossed my T's and dotted my I's on that. I wasn't gonna show up unprepared.
How many customers do you service right now?
Almost 900.
The 2 trucks?
Yes, ma'am. 5 days a week.
You service any other municipalities?
No, sir. All rural route.
Of the 900, how many are in Poetry right now?
Does that count? I'm not sure because the
Just a-
over 100. Over 100.
How many trips to Portrait a week do you make? One?
Just one every Thursday.
Thursdays?
Yes, sir.
How many do you have in the Poetry area right now?
A little over 100. Got to count. I'm not sure what the boundary exactly is.
Are we to understand that you would do billing every 3 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Save on paper.
Any other questions? Okay.
What about this franchise business you were talking about with the other vendors?
Well, okay, so, with your proposals, are you considering any franchise?
I'm not even sure what that is. I know what
So-
franchise is, but
Okay, so you might consider some of the proposals we've seen are giving a certain percentage back on the cost to help like with the roads. So it's like a franchise fee for access to the town.
Right, so you mark up your charge to the customer and then give $2 or whatever back, whatever the fee is.
Yeah, I never heard of franchise fee, trash
So on your third proposal, you went down to $14 a month.
I would not offer anything on that. I just.
No, you'd have to go up.
So you would have to go up, so then the town can benefit.
I could go 5% on the franchise fee, but I add 5% to the numbers.
Okay, yeah. So then you just go up on the price and that could
Whatever the franchise
benefit
fee.
the roads for the town as well as our citizens because it'd be a better price for both roads.
Yes, ma'am, I'm more willing to do that.
You're willing to negotiate with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Are these standard prices that you have today?
No, rural route service, my standard rate's $25 a month.
$25 a month?
Yes, sir.
With a can?
1 can, 2 cans, 35.
Okay, so with the lowest rate of 14 all the way up to 20, there's some wiggle room there to negotiate.
Well,
That's fine.
it's similar to option one, so there'd be up to $7.50 worth of franchise fee if you continue to charge $25 for
Right.
proposal one. Kind of what we're doing the math on. Obviously, you probably want to be a little bit cheaper, maybe pay less franchise fee, but it's negotiable.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you said both of your trucks were 26,000 pounds?
One's 26, one's 23.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank
Oh,
you, Jason.
no, I think that was the
Thank you
quickest.
for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank y'all, folks. I appreciate y'all's time.
Okay. Okay, next we have Thank you, Jason. Okay, so next we have HD Waste and Recycling, LLC. HD Waste and Recycling.
They're gonna bring $54,000.
So this HD Waste and Recycling.
PowerPoint, okay.
Right there.
good evening, how are you? My name is Diana Martinez, and I am from Ferris Containers. And we have here Junior Vega, we have Hugo Martinez, and we have Alex Gonzalez here. So Ferris Containers has been in business since 1978, and we are currently located in Dallas. We are partnering with HD Waste and Recycling. And if you want to go to the next slide, please. So we currently service the following cities. We do Dallas, Rockwall, Hoffman, Hunt, and Van Zandt. And I think we've done a roll-off service here in Poetry, and on the commercial side, sorry, thank you. We are a small business, woman-owned, and we're excited to be here, given the opportunity to present to you guys our presentation. We do offer the on-call services for roll-off. If you want to do the next slide, please. So we offer the roll-off services in these cities, 20-yarders, 30-yarders, and 40-yarders, and we're always looking room to expand. Our next slide, please. So the spring of 2021, we joined, we partnered up with Ferris Containers, and Callie Ferris was, or is, or previous owner of Ferris Containers, and he was also a small business. He has a fleet of 3 trucks. He has 150 containers, or had 150 containers, which we now own. We are actively growing our line of business and accommodating communities, and we'd like to be an accommodation here at Poetry. So in the spring of 21, we partnered with HD Waste, and HD Waste is a family-owned business as well. Hugo and myself were husband and wife, and we started our business back in 2009. We are a minority woman-owned company, and family operated. HD stands not only for Hugo and Diana, but it's also for our kids, Haley and Daniel. And they are so much involved in our business as well. Summertime, they were there. Now that they're older, young adults, now they're full-timers, you know, and they're getting to learn the business as well. We have over 30 years of experience in the waste industry. We have experience in the municipality, in residential, commercial, industrial, recycling center, and also the transfer station. My husband had the privilege of working for the city of Garland, and he worked there for the 14.5 years. Last 5 years, he dedicated himself as a operations manager that oversaw all the residential, commercial, and industrial lines of business. Why choose us? The customer is always a priority to us. We are not afraid to work. We're not afraid to give the service that is expected from our customers. So we are dedicated. We have a dedicated team not behind us, but right beside us. We have live people that will actually answer your phone calls. In today's business, in the waste industry, we have a lot of automated services, and we're more down to earth, we're more home. We love the personal communication and the touch that we have our customers, and our customers have learned and grown to know who we are personally, and we've got a great team right beside us. We are highly flexible, and we go above and beyond our call of duty. So there's no job too small or too big for us. We're there, we're gonna make it happen for you. We aim to achieve the highest level of qualities in the service that we can provide for you, making your waste needs hassle-free. So that is basically our experience of why you should choose us, and including where we're located. Currently, we're located in Dallas, the west side of 635 and the north side of 175. We're right off the service road. However, because we recently purchased the Ferris Containers, we are working with the new location here in Elmo off of Highway 80. So we're conveniently 20 minutes away from your city here. We do have let's see here. I'd like to thank you. Yes, oh, sorry. We have a system that is operated with Samsara, and all of our trucks have this really unique system which helps us efficiently and effectively run our routes. We know where our drivers are at, we know what time they were actually at our stops, and that pretty much helps us leave a really good footprint if there's any questions that arise. It also helps us, helps our professional drivers be better. They create a healthy habit. So we bring things to their attention that they might not like, but they need to correct. So they know that somebody's always, seeing them and making sure that they're doing what they should be doing, which is giving you the service. We have live communication with them, and also the ability to even relate a link to our customers. So if you're expected of a certain type of service, we can send you a link and you can track to see where your driver's at till the time of a pickup at your location. We use QuickBooks as our software program, and majority of our customers are done electronically. However, we do have customers that do receive handbills. You guys can either, if you choose to do electronic emails or invoices, you can see the invoices on your screen. You can pay your invoices online. You can pay them through a check online if you like, or you can mail it, to our PO box in Wills Point. So those are our services that we take advantage of, and I'm open for any questions that you guys have. I really, thank you for the opportunity of actually being here and just presenting who we really are. So, Terry.
So I'm familiar with HD Waste as a commercial business. I've used HD Waste. I guess, describe the partnership. Did y'all buy out Ferris?
We did. We've known Kelly Ferris for a couple years, and he was getting a little tired, and we wanted to be there to help him out. So we've been talking to him since last year, seriously, and we weren't pushing him. He was ready to make a change. So we did acquire the company. We purchased the company in April of this year.
So it's a subsidiary enrolling in HD Waste. You're keeping it separate?
We're keeping it separate, and any financial support that we have certainly comes from HD. So HD is more like the mother company as we grow Ferris Containers.
So I'll ask the same random question. I say random, repetitive question. Truck weights.
Truck weights?
For residential.
For residential. Now that would be
Single axle.
it's a single axle.
Less than 26,000 pounds or up to 35,000 pounds?
Probably 25, yeah.
Non-CDO or CDO truck?
It's gonna have to be CDL.
Okay, so it could be over 26,000 pounds. Okay. Do you offer recycling?
We do.
Yes.
We do.
Yes, but
It's a repetitive question. Okay. And obviously with HD Waste, so is HD Waste going to provide service here, or is Ferris Containers going to provide?
No, we are actually, our goal is to preserve Ferris Containers and his reputation. I value that, my husband values that, and my whole team does. So we're planning on actually moving forward with Ferris Containers.
Yeah, residential fee is right now, no contracts, no anything. Customer calls you, what's the fee cost in poultry?
We don't have that pricing. However, we've been doing a little homework on pricing, and we're looking at $25 a month plus their taxes. And it all depends on what, the residents, would like to see, or what type of service they want. But obviously our containers, we're looking at new toters. I don't know if they currently have toters. I'd like to know what type of service they currently have in order for me to say, this is what we can do for you. So so we can compare and present what we'd like to see in the city.
Do you currently do any waste pickup, trash pickup?
We do trash pickup, but not for residential. So this will be a branch for Ferris Containers and that growth for Ferris Containers on the Ferris Container side. And like I said, HD has the financial support to, you know, support Ferris Containers and the growth.
Did you keep the employees at Ferris?
I'm sorry, what?
The employees, and the reason I ask is they know how to run the residential service.
Absolutely. We did keep, so Ferris had 3 drivers, one being Kelly Ferris, the owner. Obviously, he's retired and he's enjoying his vacation right now. And then the 2 drivers, we only had 1 driver. One decided to venture out on his own. But currently we hired 2 other drivers, so they have 3 dedicated drivers right now for Ferris.
Where do they service now? I might have missed that.
Oh, no, yeah.
Where does Ferris service?
So they're in Coffee County.
Okay, that was them, that's not HD Waste.
That is not HD, no.
That's Ferris.
Correct. Ferris Containers service anything on the east side of Dallas, all the county sides.
So I don't want to make assumptions. So since you don't currently do residential, you haven't done residential, do you have any contracts with any municipalities?
This is our first. However, we do have, Hugo does have the experience for residential, being, you know, at the city of Garland and how big Garland is. He had a fleet of 16 routes that he managed for 5 years before he decided to come and help HD.
And once the price is decided upon, would that price be available outside to our extended or extraterritorial jurisdiction or ETJ? So the areas that are not in the city limits but they're real close to us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Density is one of my goals, and if we can get poetry and then also the surrounding areas, you know, that'd be happy for everybody.
How many residential customers do y'all have with Ferris right now?
Ferris has about residential, he doesn't have residential, so he does roll-off. So his service is like 20-yarders, 30s, and 40s.
So y'all bought a company that looked like y'all already, that y'all have roll-off stations.
So
y'all bought a similar company and you're moving into residential.
Correct. So HD, Ferris is probably about an eighth of what HD is. So you have a little idea of how big HD is.
And how do you manage billing?
We manage billing.
Is it once, it's monthly, or do you have an option for quarterly? Or is it just monthly?
We can entertain the quarterly. I used to work for one of the biggest companies years ago, and they had residential. They were really big on residential. They did quarterly billing. That is not an issue if that's what, you know, it's going to take to work with your residents, or we can do monthly.
So are you willing to offer a franchise fee to the town of Poetry?
With my experience, a city that does have an exclusive hauler, there is a franchise fee to that, and I'm assuming it'd be, I mean, I don't know what it currently is right now, if there is one in place. You know, we deal with other cities in.
We're new to a city as you are the residential city.
Okay, great, so we can grow together. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. Yeah, so anywhere between 4.2% up until 10% is what we've experienced on the west side.
And that would be collected by y'all's billing and then resubmitted to the city.
That's something that we don't know what Poetry currently has. With my experience, usually everything, well, we can learn together. My experience is that the bills would go directly to the city, and then the city would tell us. So the city usually kind of monitors, you know, each customer and tells us. So we're your assistant.
And don't feel bad, the city of Dallas came to our office to find out how to charge us, the company.
That's right.
So she
She knows all of that. You need some advice. Because I was thinking to her office.
So yes, the city of Dallas did come to our office to ask us how we actually bill or charge our customers, the franchise fees, and how we do our reporting. In fact, they're currently still using my spreadsheet for reporting purposes. And, that was an honor. That's just a little something that, we kind of help. And we work with cities city's a really large city. Dallas is a really large city. So if Dallas is that magnitude, the communication between us is going to be great.
What is your willingness to bill and handle franchise fees? Obviously, new city, no secretary, no full-time staff.
Okay.
So for us to be billing, the probability of that's probably slim.
So what we do in the city of Dallas is we don't have the residential part in Dallas. We have the commercial and then the industrial, so the small, the front load and the big dumpsters. And we give them a monthly report. This is how much business we have, this is how much, we collected, and this is what your franchise fee is. We do collect on the, not on the residential side, but on the commercial and industrial, yes.
It'd be the same model, wouldn't it?
That would be, we can do the same model as well.
So
I think it's really easy.
How many homes can you service a day with your current plan?
With our current plan, I believe it's 18 to 1,000 homes, and I believe there's 696 homes. Okay?
Well, it was roughly 689 is kind of the guesstimate
Okay.
of unique homes.
So what I did, my calculations on the $25 a month is really just rounded up to 700 to give us a little wiggle room, to work with. But that's what we've done. And again, we have a lot of, the city of Dallas, every city is different in franchise. And the city of Dallas, I really enjoy working with the city of Dallas because they give an incentive for recyclables. So if you have customers that are recycling, obviously there's a fee for commercial and industrial, they are exempt of the franchise fees because they encourage their customers to recycle. And that's what we want to do overall, right? We rent dumpsters, we want to be part of that, where we rent dumpsters to preserve our earth for generations to come. If it's going to take one dumpster at a time, a toter at a time, or a roll-off at a time. That's our motto. Any other questions? I could be here all night.
Thank you, Diane.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, so, last on this was Waste Connections. Is it accurate that Waste Connections, I think, left? Okay. Okay, so, wrapping it up then, we've heard a lot about waste tonight. How about some good news? Thank you. Thank you so much. So, good news, just a little bit of announcement. Starting tomorrow, June 9th, the road on 2458 will be closed because Commissioner Randy Strait and his crew are going to be putting in 2 new culverts and fixing the potholes. So if you're on that route, the alternate route will be 2466 to 2452 and 2466. Okay. So those in those residential areas, bear with us. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but they're on it. We're very, very grateful so that they're addressing that hazardous situation there. Okay, so good meeting. We want you to feel heard, connected, informed. We hope that our future meetings will help you to feel heard and connected, informed to your town and your town council. With that, we'll go ahead and adjourn. We have a second. Okay. All right, have a good evening. We're adjourned.